Hi there, it's Trinette. Look how beautiful today is. It's so nice to be able to see the weather warming up, and we're in spring now, so it's lovely. Today I wanted to talk about stress. And stress in the female body is toxic. And with everything that we're juggling within home and with work, it can actually be something that can pop up. And it's not always a bad thing. It can also be really good to be able to get us productive and get us doing things and get us really motivated. However, when we're in stress, our blood moves into our extremities and it gets ready for our fight and fight. So it's not always good to have it all of the time. But with women, we actually tend to think that it's more like tend and befriend rather than the fight and flight. And when we are in that stress mode, it sends our bodies into minimal maintenance mode. So it's not really helping us to nourish and get our body back into the optimal position that we want it to be. Now, I don't know whether anyone's seen the Mark Gungor Nothing Box TEDx video or YouTube. It's something that I would recommend that you all have a look at. He's done it in such a great way that it's actually quite funny. But it describes the differences between the brain of men and women, and it does say that men have a nothing box, which women don't necessarily have. And men go to that nothing box to de-stress. So this nothing box is where a man can actually sit there and watch the TV and not really know what's going on the TV, and nothing else around him will matter. Whereas with a woman, where our brains are always activated and we're always thinking about different things, so we tend to multitask and do a lot of things all the time to keep our brain moving, and even when we're sitting still, we're thinking of things, whereas a man doesn't necessarily do that. They actually de-stress through this nothing box. And the reason for this is because we have a bigger limbic system. So within our brains are actually very different to men, and our prefrontal and anterior cortex develops at a very young age. And it's part of the brain which takes fewer risks, but it also makes us feel fear. It makes us feel fear much faster, and it produces that fear and anxiety in us. And it also gives us the opportunity to be able to experience things in much more detail too. So by switching on other parts of the brain, we can actually help to calm ourselves. And that's a really important thing for us to do, because we don't want to be able to emotionalize the world all of the time, because our body isn't or hasn't got the ability to be able to do that all the time. Now, if you have a think about in a highly stressed out woman, what happens is our oxytocin generator, which causes the baby blues when you give birth, it can actually sort of, it can use up all of the resources within our body, and it can actually cause the stress toxins to cause us to stress out. So when you give birth and your body is meant to have that surge of oxytocin so that you can bond to your baby, there's actually nothing left in your tank, because it's been used up every day to shut down your stress toxins. And that's why we end up with the baby blues. And it's really important to manage that chronic stress, because it can lead to causes of death like heart disease and cancer and lung ailments and cirrhosis of the liver and suicide even. So it's attributed to a lot of gut issues in women as well. So what I thought I'd do is to show you a technique that we can do to help us become calmer, so then we can pay less focus on this prefrontal and anterior cortex. And since our brain's always firing there, we want to make sure that we can use other parts of our brain and get it out of that emotional part of the brain and focus onto another area. So one way you can do this to be able to immediately have that sense of calm is to find a spot in front of you. You put your hands up in front of you. My hands look enormous in this video, but put your hands up in front of you and create a tunnel either side of that stationary thing that you're going to look at. And as you look in front of you, gradually bring your hands out to the side, so you can still see your hands in the side of your vision. So this is a peripheral vision training. So your eyes are to stay in the same spot, your vision is to be in front of you, and be aware of your hands either side of you. Now, once you've done that, right to the very side, you can actually move your hands upwards and downwards, and with that's actually using a different part of your brain. So it doesn't actually take very long in order to be able to get any results. So once you move your hands either side, you'll end up feeling calmer and your mind clears and your emotions drop and the logical thinking starts to come back into your brain. So it's just a very simple tip that you might be able to use to calm yourself. It's also useful for kids too, where you can do this with them in order to let them use another part of their brain. It's outside of their emotional part, and then that will help to calm them too. So I hope you find an opportunity to use that this week, and I'll catch up with you soon. All right, see you.